Hello, hello, welcome back to the island. My name is Donald, aka the Scruffy Looking Gamer, and we've got some big news in the world of Kryptik to talk about today. We officially have a release date. Tanner announced earlier today that June 30th will be launch day for Wicked Prophecy, and I know that at my local game store, we could not be any more excited to get these new cards in our hands and play with them. Included in this announcement was the change in printers moving forward. Now, the printer change may not seem like big news to most of you, but one of the biggest pluses to come out of that change is the move to cold foiling. I'm going to do a separate video on just what exactly cold foiling is, but for now, just know that this is an awesome change to the foiling process moving forward. Along with this announcement came some images of the printing process, which of course contain new cards. These are pretty hard to read in most cases, so we're going to break them down and talk about these sweet new additions to Wicked Prophecy. All right, we're going to start off with a new Durax citizen, Chilia. First of all, it looks like she controls an ice giant and a fire giant. I mean, that's pretty sweet. But she is a 5 total soul cost, 3, a green and a white for an 11/14. And she has this ability we've seen before. It seems like I think every faction has this ability in one way or another. So as long as she has one citizen attached, she gains Eager. 2 citizens attached, she gains Sidestep, and 3 citizens attached, she gains Ravenous. So now that gives us 2 Sidestep, Ravenous, Druax citizens. That's pretty aggressive. I mean, that's gonna do some work. She is 5 soul cost, so that's she's coming down pretty late. But 2 citizens that do Sidestep and Ravenous both is pretty crazy. That's gonna destroy a lot of 11-year cards pretty quick. So I don't know if she fits in the deck really. Being at 5, it's just kind of slow, I think. We'll have to wait and see what that deck's trying to do. I don't think the deck is wanting to be more of a late game deck. I think they're wanting to be a little more aggressive or pseudo mid-range deck. So 5 is a lot to ask for that, but we'll see where Chilia ends up. We also got a new spell, and this one is flavorful as can be. This is Doubloon. It's 1 blue or black, and you can have 11 copies of Doubloon in your deck. So normally you can only have 3 copies of a card in any given deck, but this one, 11 for your 11 years on the island, I guess. Or it's actually 66 years on the island, but they're in 11-year cards. You know, you get the hint. So anyway, you play Doubloon, you draw 2 cards, then you abolish a card from your hand, and you abolish the actual spell that you cast Doubloon. So basically you're drawing 2, but you're having to get rid of 1. So it's a draw with kind of a decision attached to it. Now, the card you get rid of doesn't have to be one of the 2 that you drew. You can, if you have other cards in your hand, you draw 2. Maybe you want to keep those 2 that you drew, and then you get rid of one of the other cards you had. That's perfectly fine. You just have to abolish any card from your hand. But the fact that you're abolishing Doubloon itself and you're abolishing another card really plays into this next card that we're about to see. And this is really spicy. So this is Iraz. Iraz is a blank citizen. Strange. We don't know what faction this falls under. Obviously, it's the blue-black faction. We don't have a name for that moving forward. Is this the only blue-black card in the set? We don't know. We have no information there. But Iraz is a 7/11. I bet they have Slurpees there. He is 5 total soul cost, 3, a blue and a black. He has Sidestep. And when Iraz enters the island, he deals 1 damage to each citizen you control for every 2 abolished cards you own. So we just talked about Doubloon. When you play Doubloon, you're ending up with 2 abolished cards. So when he entered the island, when Iraz enters the island, if that's all you've done as far as abolishing, it's going to do 1 damage to each citizen you don't control. 1 is not a lot. So we're really looking for ways to get more cards abolished. Obviously, since you can have 11 copies of Doubloon in your deck, then that's every copy you cast. That's 2 cards you're abolishing. You got to be careful. If you cast all 11, you're going to run out of cards really quick. So that is an issue. But if that's the case, if you're getting 7, 8, 9, 10 cards abolished by the time you cast this, then you're going to wipe your opponent's board. 10 damage uh, on the other side. Well, actually, it's for every 2, so it'd be 5. If you have 10 abolished, it would be 5 damage on your opponent's board. If they're playing an aggro deck, that's going to wipe pretty much everything they have. If you're playing against like a control deck, you probably don't want this. But this is definitely going to be some sideboard tech, I think, against either maybe possibly even a control mirror. I mean, they're already running some black with capital, or sorry, not a control mirror, a aggro mirror. They're already running some black with capital punishment and such. So it's not a lot to ask to get that one black in there. Maybe this is something you bring in to wipe your opponent's board. They're currently doing Kushiel to do that, but this is another option. Kushiel being 3 blue and her casting cost is a little rough. 1 blue and 1 black seems a little bit better. I don't know. We'll have to see where this one lands, but this card is something. I really like this card. I like the design of it. I like the fact that it's a new faction where we just don't know what's going on there. So there's a lot of mystery around this card, and that makes it really, really stand out in my opinion. Another thing to look at here is this is a kind of a preview of the cold foil. You can't really tell in a picture, but it's got that like prism rainbow effect going on. And that's something that's going to be really, really nice to see in person. I'm really excited to see some of these once we get our hands on these cards. All right, so the last card we're going to look at is one that is kind of impossible to see, but somehow my buddy Logan was able to read this entire card and translate into what it actually does. So this is Ostara, Ritual of Spring. It is a spell, 2 anything and 2 hybrid green or white. And this spell says detach and put X attached citizens into play where X is equal to the number of Druac citizens you control. They gain Eager. At the end of turn, reattach the citizens to the citizens they were attached to. Sacrifice any citizens that were unable to reattach. So that's a lot of text. What does that do? So you have 3 Druac citizens on the island. They each have a citizen attached to them. When you play this spell, those citizens unattach and gain Eager. So now you went from 3 citizens to 6 citizens. They have Eager so they can attack. You attack all the way through. None of your citizens die. So at the end of your turn, then they would reattach back to the citizens that they were originally attached to. Now, if you attacked with one of the citizens that had a citizen attached to it, and it died in combat, when the card that was originally attached would go to reattach, it wouldn't have a target, so you would have to sacrifice it. So it's kind of it's a finisher, I think, for the Druac deck. It's going to be when you just need to be able to swing wide and kill off your opponent. So you don't really worry about that sacrifice trigger at the end when they have to reattach. But it's also kind of I don't know, I wouldn't say combat trick, but the fact that it's not focused means that you can cast it at any time. So let's say you are attacking with Shamar. Let's go back to Shamar here. So with Shamar, we have, say, 2 citizens attached. Shamar is Ravenous and Sidestep. You attack with Shamar, And then, still in your combat phase, you play the ritual. Those citizens become unattached. They are eager. They can attack. So you got the benefit of having them attached to Shamar, and then you still get to attack with them separately. Pretty sure that's kind of absurd. That's going to be pretty crazy if you have two Shamars, both with two citizens attached. You attack with both of your Shamars, then you play the ritual. Now you still have four more citizens to attack. That's kind of crazy. I think that spell is going to be a huge finisher in this Drurak deck. So the Druraks are shaping up to be a complete force to be reckoned with in the new meta, and I'm really excited for that. We really need a meta shakeup. It's getting a little bit stale at this point, but we only have 150 cards to play with, so there's only so many combinations of stuff you can do. So I really look forward to seeing what comes of this new meta once we hit Wicked Prophecy and get it in our hands. That's all the news we have for today. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. And until next time, I'll see you on the island.